So guys, today we are going to learn about trigonometry. Trigonometry is a study of right triangles. So today I will introduce you to the basics like the trigonometric ratios, which are just the trigonometric functions. So let's begin. First, I am going to introduce you to the formal names of all the sides of a right triangle. You may already know this. If you know this, you can skip this part of the video. I put timestamps in the description, so you can just use the timeline to scroll to the next part. So I will show you all the names. Okay, so one thing you have to remember is the opposite side to the right angle, which is this side, which is this angle. The opposite side to the right angle is called the hypotenuse. Hypotenuse, and the opposite angle to this thing. This is an angle, and the opposite side to this angle is called the opposite side, and finally the adjacent side to this angle is called the adjacent side. Adjacent is also known as the side which is nearby to something. So this side is nearby to that angle, so we can call it the adjacent side. Okay, now I am going to introduce you to the three fundamental trigonometric ratios. They are sine, cosine and tan. And I cannot tell you how important these are. These are basically the fundamental building blocks of engineering, physics and astronomy, and there is no limit to this. You can find pretty much anything with this. So first I am going to define all these three functions, and then show you a easy mnemonic to memorize this. So I am going to write the definitions of them right now. So uh, sine of theta is equal to opposite divided by hypotenuse. Cosine of theta is equal to adjacent divided by hypotenuse, and tangent of theta is equal to opposite divided by adjacent. And you may be wondering what this theta thing is, and don't worry, I am not going to show you another concept which will take many hours to study. This theta is just a variable for an angle. So like x, y or z, theta is a variable for denoting angles. Okay, and now you may be wondering, how can we memorize all these ratios? If you just memorize them, you can memorize them, but sometimes you will forget them in a test, and you will be confused and stressed out if my answer will be wrong. So I am going to give you a mnemonic which you won't forget. It's just a sentence and you will remember it, and it will fall straight out of your mouth, so don't worry about it. It's called so ka toa. This so part means sine, this kappa means cosine, and this tova part means tangent. And these O and H mean opposite divided by hypotenuse. Similarly, AH means adjacent divided by hypotenuse, and OA mean opposite divided by adjacent. So you can easily figure out the trigonometric ratios with this arrangement. Okay, and now I will show you an example problem with the information we have. Suppose we have a triangle with theta 30 degrees and hypotenuse 10 centimeter. theta 30 degrees 30 degrees and hypotenuse which is equal to 10 centimeters. We want to find out this side. So you may be wondering, we have all the information but it's a bit difficult. So I will show you how it is done. So using the information we have, we can figure out which function to use. First we are going to write out a mnemonic. So ka tova. So we want to figure out the opposite side and we already have the hypotenuse. So we want a function which includes a hypotenuse and an opposite. This part has a hypotenuse but does not have an opposite. So we can cross this one out. This has an opposite but does not have a hypotenuse. So we can cross this out also. This part has an opposite and a hypotenuse. So this is the one we are going to use. So we are going to use sine. So we can write the function. The definition of sine is sine of theta is equal to opposite divided by hypotenuse. And with the information we write that we have here, we can write sine of 30 degrees is equal to opposite divided by hypotenuse which is 10 centimeters. And now if we multiply both sides by 10 centimeters, we will get something like this. These things will cancel. This 10 and 10 will cancel, because if you multiply something by a number and divide by it, we are cancelling what we just did. So we can write the opposite side as 10 sine 30. And you can just this figure is a bit not so bit incorrect, because this theta does not seem to be 30 degrees. It will be more like this. It will be more like this. And now you can see that this side is only half as big as the hypotenuse. This side is half times smaller. So we can find that sine of theta is equal to 1/2. You can just put this calculation in your calculator and you will get the answer as 1/2. So as we know that sine of 30 is equal to 1/2, we can put that information right here and we will get 5 centimeter. So this question mark right here is equal to 5 centimeters. Okay, and now I am going to show you another problem. Sorry for my bad drawing. Just a second. Yeah. Okay, so now we are tasked to find these two sides, and let's first of all take a look at our favorite mnemonic, Sokatova. So let's find out which sides we know and we want to find out. So let's decide, this side or this side. We used the hypotenuse before, so for a change let's choose this side. Okay, so we are choosing the opposite side to this angle and the adjacent side to this angle. So we have to find a function which includes opposite and an adjacent side. This has an opposite but no adjacent, so we can cross out this one. This has an adjacent but no opposite, so we can cross this one too. This has an opposite and an adjacent, so we can use the tangent function. So the definition of tangent function is tan of theta is equal to opposite divided by adjacent. So we can write After plugging in the values, we can write tan of 45 degrees is equal to opposite, which we don't know, divided by adjacent, which we know, which is 5 centimeters. And similarly, we multiply both sides by 5. If you know if you know algebra, this will be easy, but for those who are not well in algebra, I am just showing how you find out the opposite value. And uh, okay, so this is just a fact for you. If no, this is not a fact for you, you already know this. Yeah, this doesn't make sense. So if this is a 90 degree and this is a 45 degree, this angle must also be 45 degree, because 45 plus 45 is equal to 90, 90 plus 90 is equal to 180. As all things balanced as all things should be, so we can conclude that this is an isosceles triangle, because two angles are equal. That means it should be a isosceles triangle. That means this side is also 5 centimeters. And do you remember the tangent function? It is opposite divided by hypotenuse. If this is an isosceles triangle, both sides must be equal now. So if we divide a number with the same number, we will get 1. So tangent of 45 is equal to 1. So the opposite side must be 5 tangent of 45, and tangent of 45 is 1, so it will be 5 times 1, which is 5 centimeters. And now we can use the Pythagoras theorem to figure out the third side, but I won't be doing that. Yeah, if you want, you can figure out that as a homework. Okay, so now I am going to be looking at another problem, and this will be the last problem for today. This will be a bit more difficult than the rest, so be patient. So we have a 3 and a 4 here, and we want to find out this angle over here. Okay, and this side over here also. So first we are going to tackle this side, because it is the easiest. And as a fact, this is trigonometry is with right triangles. So we have a right angle here, and this is the hypotenuse, and the theorem for hypotenuse is the Pythagoras theorem, so we can use it. So we know that a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. So c is equal to the square root of a squared plus b squared. So we can substitute in the numbers and find out that 3 squared plus 4 squared, and if we take the square root of them, we will get c. 3 squared is 9, and if we add 16 to it, we will get 25, and the square root of 25 is 5. So this question mark is 5. We found out the easy one. And now we have to find out this angle over here. This is going to be a very difficult problem. So if we I don't think it makes much sense to say that, because you will be doing the problem then just looking at the calculator. So we will take a look at a function which has we'll be looking at a function which has the needed sides. So we can choose two sides. I think I will be sticking with 5 and 4. So hypotenuse and opposite. So we know that sine of theta is equal to opposite divided by hypotenuse, which is 4 by 5. And 4 by 5 is What is 4 by 5? It is, I think, 0.8. I think it is 0.8. Okay. And so sine of theta is equal to 0.8. And we know that sine of theta is equal to 0.8, but we want to find out the theta. So if we take the sine of an angle, we will get 0.8. So we want to find out which number we should take sine of, so that we get 0.8 degrees. And for this I am going to use a function called the arc sine. Every function has this, like arc, cos, and arc tangent. It just means if we take the if we take the tangent of a number, we will get a number, but we want to find out the angle. So we can just write a notation like this in the calculator, and write the sine value we will get. So here we got 0.8, and there should not be tan here, there should be sine here. So this is the symbol for arc tan. Remember this. Okay, this is the symbol for arc tan. So if we take the arc tan of 0.8, we will get a value, and we will get a value. So to figure out this value, you can just use a calculator, because in trigonometry the main thing is we do not compute in head. Computing in head is very hard. You have to be Einstein for that. I don't think Einstein can even calculate it. So smart people like Einstein use a calculator. So if we put that into our problem, we can find out the answer. So I am taking my trusty Windows calculator and putting the answer. So let me see. Oh, this is not trusty. 1 second. Just a second. Inverse. Okay. So we have to figure out that arc sine of 0.8. Arc sine of 0.8. Okay. And that is around 53.13 degrees. Okay. So that is around 53.13 degrees. And I want to confess something. I didn't think that I told in the beginning that this is going to be a very hard problem, but when I was writing the problem, that it came to me that you cannot calculate it and I cannot calculate it, that we can only use a calculator. So for problems like this, we should use a calculator. And you might be thinking, where is a hard problem? And to tell you the truth, these are not hard problems, these are easy problems, and I will give out hard problems later for you. So stay here, don't go anywhere.